Welcome to EVTN News. I am trying out a different device today, so I hope this is okay. We'll see. And I can see the coloring looks a little bit different. And feel free to share your thoughts on whether you think this is acceptable or not. So we're going to get started here. I got some bad bishop appointments to discuss and a few other things too, but let's just start out. On October 15th, Chinese state bishops ordained Father Joseph Wu Jianlin as an auxiliary bishop in St. Ignatius Cathedral in Shanghai. The appointment was made just 1 week after the death of Francis on April 28th. So this was I talked about this at the time. The Chinese, the Chinese Communist Party, they appointed a bishop when the Holy See was vacant, and of course, it was made without the approval of the Vatican, which was a violation of the agreement. But Leo didn't seem to mind, and so he approved it. He signed off on it on October 15th. And they said he has signed off on it, according to the Vatican, he signed off on it on August 11th. So there you go, another Chinese bishop. Another Chinese communist bishop, and now he's approved by Leo. But I wonder what that does. Does that make the underground church schismatic? No, it doesn't. But also, the Chinese are appointing their own bishops, so when the SSPX does something similar, what will the Vatican do? Or does the Vatican just not get enough money from the SSPX to worry about it? Because that may have a factor. That may play a factor in what happens. That may play a factor in the Vatican's decision to, or Leo's decision to approve all these Chinese bishops. Okay. The USCCB has a meeting coming up, and the president and vice president will be elected among other positions. Let's see. And the candidates were released. This will be in November. The election will take place in November. The candidates will be released, and I'm not optimistic about this. So, here are the candidates. Bishop Barron of Minnesota, Archbishop Paul Coakley of Oklahoma City, Bishop Daniel Flores of Texas, Brownsville, Texas, Archbishop Richard Henning of Boston, Bishop David Molay of Rockford, Illinois, Archbishop Nelson Perez of Philadelphia, Bishop Kevin Rhodes of Fort Wayne, South Bend, Indiana, Archbishop Sample of Portland, Oregon, Archbishop Charles Thompson of Indianapolis, and Archbishop Weisenberger of Detroit. Now, I don't think Weisenberger stands a chance. I think, if he gets any votes, then it will be from the extreme left. There's lots of leftists in the USCCB, but he's pretty extreme, and he's not well liked by his the people in his diocese. So anyway, let's see here. Flores seems to have the best chance. He's a synodal superstar. He was the leading synodalist for North America, I think, which is problematic, to say the least, because the synodal synod was completely compromised. I would like to see Sample be elected. Heck, even Barron would be fine. It'll probably be Flores and Barron. Archbishop Coakley is very pro-life. Bishop Rhodes is pro-life. Archbishop Thompson, he decided to get rid of, I think he broke ties with a Jesuit high school in his archdiocese, but I think the Vatican forced him to take them back under the diocese, which was actually absolutely disgusting. So there are some names here. and I don't know if any of them will be elected. Unfortunately, I think it would be more of the far leftists, which would be disappointing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Got some time to think about that. All right, so Cardinal Cupich was named to Vatican City's governing council, and there are a variety of reactions here. I think I actually have two thoughts on that. The first thought is my most likely. I think that Leo and Cupich are good friends and share the same opinions on most topics. So that's why Cupich was appointed. But a second thought is that this is the beginning of the firing by promotion strategy to get Cupich out of Chicago. That's a possibility because Cupich is probably approaching the end of his reign of terror in Chicago. Now, just because he's gone doesn't mean that things will improve. I think that people need to really understand that. So, but yeah, he was appointed to Vatican City's governing council, and okay, let's see. Pope Leo on Friday appointed Father Joseph Grundwell Grundwittel to succeed Cardinal Christoph Schonborn as the head of the Archdiocese of Vienna, Austria, as the Archdiocese of Vienna, which is Austria's most populous archdiocese. The 62-year-old Grundwittel, born in Lower Austria, was the chairman of the Vienna Priest Council and Episcopal Vicar of the Vienna Archdiocese's Southern Vicariate before being named Apostolic Administrator. According to Austria's Public Broadcasting Service ORF, he is a former member of the controversial Pastors Initiative, a dissident Catholic group founded in Austria in 2006 on a call to disobedience on certain church issues. The group advocates for the ordination of women, optional priestly celibacy, and communion for the divorced and remarried and members of other Christian faiths. Okay, so that's not the only bad bishop appointment, as you'll see here in a minute. On October, okay, this is a little bit different story and topic. On October 11th, 2025, in St. Peter's Square, Leo addressed pilgrims from Tuscany. He said, Don Lorenzo Milani, prophet of the Tuscan and Italian church, had his motto, I care. I urge you not to be passive and to do your part to shape the face of a church that cares about people's lives. These words, spoken before thousands, echoed Francis' earlier praise of the same man. Don Lorenzo Milani lived from 1923 to 1967. Was not a prophet. He was a priest who wrote letters so vile that even his admirers blushed to cite them. He wrote about his love for boys. Any quotes in the letter would probably be enough to get this video banned. But Leo quoted him, and Francis quoted him, and the internet quoted him. A different quote than what Leo and Francis probably quoted. And you can read that in the links in the description, but I won't read it out loud. Okay, so I saw this on Twitter. I think it was Saturday. By someone posting, he said, I have been told that the two remaining diocesan Latin masses in the Diocese of Cleveland have been granted another 2-year extension. So last week I was talking about the Latin Mass bans, the Diocese of Knoxville, and the Vatican directing bishops to shut down the Latin Masses. But then in this case, it appears that since they've been granted a 2-year extension in Cleveland, the Bishop of Knoxville, I don't know what was going on there, because did he request an extension for the Latin Masses, or did he just decide to crush them? Was he directed? And we're not going to find out the answers very easily, because it's just there's lots of there's lots of different thoughts just floating around out there. Um, a lot of people say a lot of different things, and no one really knows. So, um, I don't know. But the fact is that the Institute of Christ the King was invited into the Diocese of Cleveland, and that would in other dioceses, that would put an end to all the other diocesan Latin masses, but in this case, the bishop asked for the extension, he was granted, and I haven't heard of any bishops who requested the extension who didn't have it granted. So, I don't know. I don't know. But if your bishop wants to keep the Mass, it seems as though if your bishop wants to keep the Mass up and running, all he has to do is request an extension from the Vatican. There are lots of bishops that don't want to do that, and so that's why you see them being canceled. And those bishops are, what should you say, highly problematic, I guess you could say. All right. So there's a new Biden bishop. Archbishop, or the Bishop of Albany, New York. Bishop Mark O'Connell was an auxiliary bishop of Boston. He was appointed to the Diocese of New York as the bishop. I pulled up an article from 2021. Yes, he responded to a parishioner's question about denying communion to pro-abortion politicians, and so he said, I fear the whole process of writing the document, it's a document that the USCCB was discussing denying communion to Biden and other politicians that support the slaughter of the unborn. And he said, I fear the whole process of writing this document will lead to more and more opportunity for some bishops and writers to further polarize our people. Well, I mean, Biden did a good job of that, but now the bishops, thanks to their polarization, it's become very polarizing. But, what is the point of the Catholic faith? Is it to make people feel good? Because that's what these bishops, they say, oh, it doesn't make people feel good. We need to make people feel good. Well, you're running people off. That's what you're doing. He said, it's not up to me or you to deny anyone Holy Communion, adding the decision rests with each individual bishop. Then deny them communion. I mean, it wasn't that hard. Lots of bishops have done it. Like, Coeur de Leon banned Pelosi from communion, and so it's not hard. They just don't do it. Probably, I mean, they might agree with those politicians, actually. Some of them do, I'm sure. I mean, you look at the most, most rotten, like McElroy, Stowe, Supich. I'm sure they vote for those types of politicians. I mean, they certainly endorse them. So lots of these bishops are compromised, very, very compromised. Have no interest in the Catholic faith. They have only interest in leftist activism. Let's see. O'Connell says he sees the discussion of denial of Holy Communion to certain public figures as focusing too heavily on pro-life or the detriment of other issues. So, the lives of the unborn aren't. You have to focus on other things. You can't focus on the lives of the unborn. Let's see. Okay. During the virtual USCCB meeting, several dozen bishops spoke explicitly for or against the proposal, but O'Connell was one of the few bishops to publicly reveal and explain his vote following the results. He didn't want they didn't want the pushback, but he didn't care. So he's a bold Biden bishop. He said, let's see. He acknowledged that some of Biden's policy positions are at odds with church teaching. However, he said, I do not think a letter about the Eucharist is the correct place to address this issue. Um, he noted that there are more appropriate ways and they are delineated in canon law. He did not, in his letter, elaborate on what those more appropriate ways are. Yeah, so he was making excuses for why he voted against it. Okay, anything else? Okay, so he's not. He said, to me, putting this into the document distracts from anything else in the document and is a roundabout way of not having a serious discussion on this critical issue. All right, well. Okay, this is, yeah. So, I mean, he de-emphasizes all this stuff. It's so, yeah, another bishop who doesn't want to deny communion to Biden. It's I don't think he signed the Supich document, um, where I coined the term Biden bishops, but he's a Biden bishop. He said, "Oh, I think we should further explore that canon, which applies to everyone, including the president, and take it out of politics. We are all unworthy to receive. Let that unworthiness be the source of our unity." That's modernist nonsense. All right. Well, other bishops have spoken strongly against Biden, and this bishop didn't. So there you go. He gets his promotion in the Leo Church, and that's what we're getting. We're getting modernists who want to give communion to pro baby murder politicians. So there you go. There's no crisis in the church. Everyone everyone don't be so rigid. You know, give Leo more time. Don't be mean. He might ban your mass. Oh wait. People that live in Knoxville, they just need to stay quiet. Maybe they'll get to keep their reverent Novus Ordo. Okay, this is ridiculous. All this, there's a lot of excuses, and we're seeing we're seeing everything for what it is. We're seeing Leo from modernist theology, and it's not not an optimistic time for the church. But the church isn't going to fail, even if the modernists have full control over it. Okay. Well, until next time, this has been EVTN News. Thank you so much for watching. We are the laity. We will not be silent.